For centuries, the Greek hoplite phalanx was the most formidable defensive formation in the ancient world. The phalanx was a dense block of infantry, where soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder with overlapping shields, creating a wall that was nearly impossible to pierce. By August 338 BC, that defensive tradition faced its greatest test. Two bitter rivals, Athens and Thebes, had finally united their armies to block a crucial valley pass near the town of Chaeronea. The Greeks chose a position that was strategically and tactically superior. Their 2.5-mile line was anchored securely between the Cephissus River on the right and the steep foothills of Mount Thurion on the left, making a frontal assault suicidal. The man challenging this blockade was King Philip II of Macedon. For generations, the southern Greeks had dismissed his northern kingdom as a backwater territory of little consequence. Philip's presence at Chaeronea represented a collision between the old world of fiercely independent city-states and the rising centralized superpower of Macedon. Philip spent 20 years transforming his army into a professional force, starting with the introduction of the sarissa. A sarissa is an exceptionally long pike, often reaching 18 feet, used by the Macedonian phalanx to keep enemies at a distance. This diagram shows the mathematical advantage of the weapon. While a standard spear only protected the front line, the sarissa's length allowed up to 5 ranks of soldiers to project their points forward at once. Philip also revolutionized the role of his heavy cavalry. Rather than using horsemen purely for scouting or chasing down fleeing enemies, he organized them into cohesive units capable of delivering a decisive shock to the enemy line. He brought this newly professionalized combined arms military machine south to break the Greek blockade at Chaeronea. Philip's genius lay in his ability to use these specialized units in concert to break the psychological discipline of his enemies. The elite Theban Sacred Band anchored the Greek right. Opposite them stood the heavily armored, inexperienced Athenians. Philip commanded his elite infantry on the Macedonian right, directly facing Athens. On the other side, he placed his 18-year-old son, Alexander, commanding the heavy cavalry. The initial clash was a grueling standstill. Philip's veterans threw themselves against the heavy Athenian infantry, creating a chaotic wall of bronze. Then, Philip issued a highly unorthodox command. Amidst the brutal fighting, he ordered his veteran troops to slowly step backward, retreating up a slight incline. The Athenians believed they had the Macedonian king on the run. To capitalize on what they saw as a victory, they abandoned their disciplined formation and surged forward to chase Philip's men. As the Athenians rushed forward, they pulled away from the stationary Thebans on the right. This movement tore a massive hole directly in the center of the coalition line. The Greek line collapsed because Philip successfully turned the Athenians' own inexperience and overconfidence against them. As the Athenians became disorganized, the trap was sprung. Philip's retreating troops suddenly anchored themselves on the high ground, reversed their momentum, and attacked the exhausted Greeks. Seeing the gap, Alexander spurred his companion cavalry forward, driving his heavy horsemen straight through the hole in the Greek line. This was the classic hammer and anvil maneuver. While Philip's infantry pinned the Greeks from the front, Alexander's cavalry swung behind them, crushing the coalition infantry against the advancing Macedonian pikes. The entire Greek army disintegrated in minutes. Only the Theban Sacred Band remained, fighting a desperate to the last man stand until nearly every member was killed. A maneuver executed by an 18-year-old had shattered centuries of Greek military supremacy forever. Following the slaughter on the battlefield, Philip showed surprising political leniency toward the defeated Athenians. He released the Athenian prisoners without demanding a ransom, returned their dead for burial, and refused to lay siege to the city itself. Philip needed the Greek city-states intact to support his ultimate goal. He specifically wanted the powerful Athenian navy to join him in a massive invasion of the Persian Empire. To secure this cooperation, he established the League of Corinth. This forced the independent city-states into a unified alliance under permanent Macedonian control. Before he could launch his campaign, Philip was assassinated. The throne and the military machine built at Chaeronea passed instead to his son. Chaeronea served as the violent forge for the unified war machine that Alexander the Great would use to conquer the known world.